All right, so next up we got Steve Carrington here.
Here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, give him applause, John.
Yeah. So just talk for a few minutes about the IlliniCloud, because it may be something that none of you have heard of. And then Kevin's going to come up and talk about the cool stuff that we're doing over at Murphysboro Schools. IlliniCloud is a hack that we put together some years ago, right, Broderick? We hacked together some school district networks because we saw a need as a public school for some infrastructure things. So, so that you can understand it, just a little bit of history stuff. Lincoln is a statewide network that was created back in '96. T1s to a bunch of schools, right? Everybody was super happy with that. And I'm looking at a lot of young faces, and so some of you may have had your public school served with the Lincoln network. A lot of network latency issues, and it was state-run, which created some concern. That became the Illinois Century Network, whose office is right over there now. And SIU Carbondale and most of Southern Illinois public education gets their internet access from the Illinois Century Network or from Clearwave, who's come in, and some of those kinds of things. But we've got a lot of school districts and a lot of big networks that have to use that service. 860 school districts in the state of Illinois. It's a massive undertaking to maintain. We're all fighting for the same stuff. We all get pressured by the same vendors, and so we saw a need to try to fix that. We all have funding issues. If you're a small business, if you're a large business, everybody has some kind of funding issues. Public ed's the same way, because we're spending your tax dollars, and so we try to be conscious of that. So we want to protect our assets and spend that money wisely. So we created our own cloud computing infrastructure, and most of us here understand what cloud computing is with virtualization and things like that. And so we've set that up in the state of Illinois with public education, linking together some schools. Vast amounts, we'll let Kevin's pictures talk about some vast amounts of storage and things going on. So who is the IlliniCloud though? A lot of K-12 education institutions, and I say K-12 because K-12 and public ed, we tend to trust each other. There's always a trust issue when you're dealing with the state of Illinois, it seems. We don't necessarily trust our government, we don't necessarily trust those kinds of things. You know, whenever you're friends, you trust one another. When I'm in K-12 working for Murphysboro, I trust Ellen who works at Carbondale because I know Ellen. I trust other people who have my same interests. The open source community is very much like that as well. There's a sense of trust in that community. So we've tried to take that to a larger scale with the state. We have IlliniCloud Consortium districts. I serve on that board. IlliniCloud Governing Board. I happen to also serve on that board as well as Broderick here. And then we've got specialists who maintain our infrastructure. So if we think about where are these data centers located, we have one in DeKalb, one in Bloomington, and then down in Murphysboro. We have 3 data centers located more than 120 miles apart for disaster type issues, things like that. And the video is supposed to have played. Of course it's not playing, so we'll just jump to the next slide. Maybe it did play for you. Yeah, we'll just jump back. So DeKalb, Bloomington, and Murphysboro. We are the, I guess you'd call us the number 2 data center now. The primary one is in Bloomington. There's a lot more internet access options in Bloomington, being it's a larger space. But we're growing. In Murphysboro, our data center now is connected with Mediacom fiber, Clearwave fiber, and Frontier fiber. So we've started making some major inroads on those types of connectivity issues, which are kind of pricey to get started. We are a standards-based, vendor-neutral solution. And that's important for education just as it's important for all of us. Safe haven for schools. Accidents happen at public schools. Accidents happen everywhere. Rain comes in and wipes out a data center in a school up north. We were able to take all their data and stand it up in the IlliniCloud for them within about 6 hours, and they were ready to go. Things weren't obviously as fast, but they were functioning. So why did we do this? Well, it's the time to do it because the budgets are terrible in education, it seems. And we've got some key players who are stepping up. I don't know if you know anything about in Bloomington, but there are 2 very large insurance companies in Bloomington. And they tend to like the school districts in Bloomington, and they give them lots of stuff, including cash and equipment. And so that's kind of where some of this stuff actually started off. And we're seeing some schools that are using our services are seeing some dramatic cost savings. Now we set this up for K-12, but we're also serving higher ed. SIU Workforce Development hosts their applications on the IlliniCloud. NIU, Northern Illinois University, is hosting some of their applications on the IlliniCloud. We're working directly with the NCSA at University of Illinois as well, and running their development center now in the IlliniCloud. So what do we offer? Just so you can see, we offer infrastructure as service, virtual services, software as a service, disaster recovery, and some training and support. And most of us would understand what infrastructure as a service is, virtual services, right? And we host all types of things for schools. Whatever virtual environment they would need, we host that out. Software, we're hosting the Adobe Connect solution for the state of Illinois, and email and statewide listservs, things like that that need to be on more of a central location and shared out. We're working very close with a third-party solution for the federated ID. Colleges are kind of used to a federated ID solution where college students have one login that allows that activity and that login to go everywhere. Public ed hasn't been in that environment. When you're a student, you log in at Murphysboro schools. If you move to Carbondale, you get a whole new set of federated security for that local solution. We're looking at a statewide implementation of federated security for public education. And then video conferencing kind of stuff. DR, disaster, everybody needs to have some kind of disaster recovery solution, so we're able to come in at a very inexpensive cost to provide that for schools. I do want to put in a plug for this top thing, sitconference.org. This is a unique conference, just like HackSI is the first one and unique in this area. We have students from grades 3 through 12 come in for a 6-hour event that happens at Carbondale Middle School. It's in February. And they present material to other students, 30-minute presentations. Kids come in and show off what they're doing. So if we have some high school students who develop something really cool, let's say with an Arduino solution today, it'd be great for them to come and show other students how they could do something with that Arduino setup. Very much like what's kind of happening here today. We do that in February. Second opinion, another district's treasurer. If you're a much more affluent public school district, you tend to replace your gear faster than some of the others. And so we've come to share that gear out. Just this week, I came back from Bloomington with, 25 Cisco wireless access points, AGN. They're perfectly good. We just need the controller, and we hang them and ready to go. So I'm contacting other schools. Do you need some extra APs? Boom, we share that stuff out, all for no cost for them. So we're succeeding. I talked about the trust issue, building those relationships. Kind of a graphic to say why we're succeeding. We don't necessarily trust the politicians and the state of Illinois whenever they try to tell us what to do. We just want to do what's right for kids. We build those relationships. And we didn't just kind of throw it together, right? But there's some industry recognition. We're doing things the right way according to some national and worldwide organizations. Computer World gave us an innovation award back in May of 2012. Gartner, if you recognize that name, they do some high-end kind of management awards and stuff in the technology area. Gave us this A+ for the cloud strategy that we have. Storage Networking World 2011 Best Practices Award, which is the image that's there. And the most recent one that we've won is the Innovator of the Year in 2013 from NetApp. NetApp is a storage solution that we use. And the runner-up for that award was the Center for Disease Control. So I just think that it's kind of interesting that we've got this very large organization, national organization, Center for Disease Control, and you take 3 public school districts in the state of Illinois, and we beat them in our strategy for storage. And that lets you know that we're using some individuals who know what they're doing. We're using some best practices and that kind of stuff. So Kevin's going to come and talk about Murphysboro High School and how we've taken some of the things that we're doing at this bigger level and how we actually directly affect our kids. Thanks.
All right, my name's Kevin. I work for the Murphysboro School District. In the year, I think it was like 2000 to 2001, I worked in this building in the office directly above us, which is kind of cool. This building, I don't know if anybody knows, but it's a business incubator. And what we were doing was we were selling travel to Malaysia. I mean, out of Carbondale. We've got a large Malaysian population here. And we sold airfare and resorts and all kinds of stuff like that here. But what was interesting, this building can grow businesses for the community. There was an ISP that was upstairs over there, and another guy had a cool hack. He was in the back corner back there, and he built golf cart GPS, things that went on the golf cart so you could know where on the course and how far away you were from the pin. So it's just kind of a cool building. But I'm going to show you guys our data center. It's not huge. It's not the Yahoo data center, but it's pretty cool for Southern Illinois. There's a shot of our racks there. We've got 40 kVA backup batteries, so we can power quite a bit of stuff. That's 2 full racks of APC gear. Outside, I don't have a picture of it, but there's a 150 kilowatt generator. That's powered by 2 1,000-pound LP tanks. So we can run a full week, and this is where the Murphysboro data center is at. So we can stand a power outage, a May 8th storm, for a week. Not only that, but we're on the emergency refill list for the LP. So I mean, we can stand up indefinitely. All of our switches in our closets at the high school have PoE, so we have wireless connected to all this battery backup and supply. So you could be walking around in a power outage and still have Wi-Fi on your phone and internet access. Plus our three redundant links to the internet. Steve didn't say how big they were, but we've got 1 gig to Bloomington. We've got 500 megs from Clearwave or Frontier, and then 100 megs from Clearwave. So we've got up to, well, 1.6 gig, which is a bit of bandwidth for us as a high school. But that's not just for us. That's 1 gig to Bloomington, which is a data center, and that's for the disaster recovery and moving their data down to Murphysboro so that we can have redundancy. That's a picture of our compute stack. We've got enough processing power to handle, and what we do right now, 230 virtual desktops in our school systems. So rather than standing up full-blown PCs in our schools, we do VDA, or VDI, whatever we want to call it. But that saves us from tacking all those individual machines. We just stand up virtual machines. We make one change to the image, and it happens everywhere. So that's been a cool tech to have come into the district. And then we virtualize all of our servers. When I got there like 4 years ago, we had rows and rows and racks of just server after server, and now we run them basically on 2 machines. We run all 25. They got a lot of horsepower. But so that's our compute stack. There's some storage in there. There's probably 20 terabytes in that stack. This is our IlliniCloud storage here. It's like 1.2 petabytes. The ones on the left-hand side there are brand new. They're from CleverSafe, and they're pretty cool. They act as a RAID controller over a WAN. So if you lose a data center, we've got 3 data centers. If you lose one entire data center, I mean, that's like the whole rack is down. We still have access to the stuff. Not only that, but it's a security feature in that if anybody were to hack one data center, you wouldn't have enough information to make up the whole file. So it's a security measure as well. Over there we've got an EMC SAN and a NetApp filer, which does snapshots to Bloomington back and forth. That's how we back up all these schools' data. But more importantly, as a school district, we have kids, and we're teaching kids how to use tech. And so what I'm going to show you here is something that we just recently came up with. We had a need, and we had the tech to do it, and now we're teaching the kids to solve a problem. So the athletic director wants to have the Red Devil is our mascot. And so we want to have the eye flash lights when they score 2 points. That's our hack. And so we decided that we were going to have the kids in the electronics class come up with a solution to make those lights do what we want them to do. So we took Mr. Hum's electronics class and we started teaching them how to program in C, and we've got some of those kids back there today. And in 2 weeks, they've learned how to blink lights and how to turn one on with a microcontroller and turn them off. So I think that's great that these guys are learning and they're interested in this tech, and they're here today to make something happen. This is part of the hack here. It's a electrical box. We've got the Arduinos sitting in the little black box, and then I've hacked a ATX power supply, and that provides 12 volts, and we're using automotive, really bright LEDs. We've got the machining class, the industrial arts kind of stuff. They're actually going to make the cans, and they're going to be involved in the project. So they're hacking on stuff that they do. And so really why I'm showing you this is because we have a $25 gift certificate today, and anybody that wants to come to the electronics table and make a submission for what the lights do, you got 5 seconds to make the lights blink. We've got a $25 gift certificate for Best Buy. So if you guys you don't have to spend a whole day doing that, but if you want to submit something to it, we'll judge it, and you guys can maybe have like a legacy at the Murphysboro High School. And our kids are competing for that too, and they're all in the class. They're going to be submitting their own little projects. So I wanted to leave like the concept here is
What have you found? All I found is that these red lights keep moving back and forth. Aside from that, this thing seems to have no other function whatsoever, sir.
Well, it's impossible. It must have some sort of function. I mean, why would the government put all that money into a thing with red lights that keep going back and forth? Doesn't make any sense. Keep working on it.
Sir, these lights keep blinking out of sequence, sir. What should we do about it, sir?
Get them to blink in sequence.
You.
Rorschach, what do you got?
Well, we've run these tests, sir. Thank you, Rorschach. What do you make of these, Captain?
It's a bird, it's a cow, it's a horse with a hat on.
Sir,
So that's kind of what we're doing. There's no real major, we're blinking lights. And that's what we want you guys to come up with if you come and program. I brought that red box, and we can test out your C code and maybe make something happen at Murphysboro High School.